Hi everybody, welcome to Story Station. We have a great story today and it might remind you of some celebrations that you've seen before. Can you remember a celebration where you have ever seen dragons? Well, it was just last week on February 12th, the Chinese New Year. And this is a story of a little girl who wanted to learn how to make dragons. Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon. So let's get our bodies ready. Get your great big eyes wide open and turn up the volume so that you can hear everything that the author has to say. And last but not least, open up your voice box so you can respond and talk about all the fun, beautiful pictures and story that our author has to tell us. Now let's sing the parts of the book. The title's on the front, the title's on the front. Hi-ho, Biblio, the title's on the front. The author writes the words, the author writes the words. Hi-ho, Biblio, the author writes the words. The illustrator draws, the illustrator draws. Hi-ho, Biblio, the illustrator draws. The spine binds the book, the spine binds the book. Hi-ho, Biblio, the spine binds the book. And now it's time to read. And now it's time to read. Hi-ho, Biblio, and now it's time to read. Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon. Patchwork, have you ever heard that word before? A patch, can you think of what a patch might be? Have you ever seen a patch before? Something somebody might sew on their shirt, or on the sleeve of their jacket, or even on the knees of their jeans. A patch. So Patchwork Dragon. I wonder how that relates to a dragon. Patchwork Dragon. Do you think these dragons might have a patch? I wonder. This story is written by Katie Young and illustrated by Charlene Shell. And thank you to Simon and Schuster for letting us share this book with you today. Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon. Wow, that looks like a pretty big dragon to me. During story time, Mrs. Mary reads Amy's class book about dragons. Boy, they're pretty excited. Have you ever read a story about dragons? Or had one read to you? Dragons that blow fire, dragons that fight knights in gleaming armor, dragons that hoard treasures. Do you think this is a real story? Do you think there really are dragons out there? Afterward, she tells everyone to make their own dragons. Make them special, she says. Make them yours. Look at all the supplies that they have. Can you tell? What supplies would you use? I see paintbrushes and crayons and scissors and paper. Lots of colors. Sam drew a dragon with enormous teeth. He crafts the wings from postage stamps. Now that is very creative. Willa sculpts a dragon with a big fat belly. She strings daisies for the tail. That sounds like a very sweet dragon. Amy paints a dragon with a long body. It has horns like a stag and claws like an eagle. Are you sure that's a dragon? Asked Sam. It doesn't look like a dragon, adds Willa. Oh, look at their faces. They're asking those questions. They're very surprised. They're not sure that looks like a dragon. What do you think? Think it looks like a dragon? How do you think she's feeling when they ask her that question? Amy says, maybe they're right. Amy scribbles with her pencil and doodles with her crayons. She glues beads to the paper and some to her hair. So she's got those beads not only on the paper but in her hair. Bits of dragons emerge. Dragons with shiny green scales. Dragons with leathery wings. They look great. They look just like the dragon in Miss Mary's book. But none of them work. None of them feel quite right. These dragons are not the dragons Amy wanted to make. Which one do you like the best? There's a green one, blue one, and a yellow one. One even has a hat. What color dragon would you make if you were making one? Time to clean up, says Miss Mary. I'm not done, cries Amy. The rest of the class put their dragons on the show and tell table. But there's nothing from Amy, nothing at all. So let's see, here's Willa's dragon, and here's Sam's dragon, and Wayne, and Kat. But Amy didn't leave anything. How do you think she's feeling? How would you feel if the teacher asked you to stop and you weren't quite finished? What would you do? Willa and Sam come over after school, but Amy can't even smile. Oh dear, says Amy's grandma. Why the sad face? So Amy tells her why. Her grandma gets a twinkle in her eye. Come, she says, let me tell you a story. Oh, look at there. Grandma has her cat next to her. I wonder what kind of story she's going to tell her. She tells them about dragons that bring down the rain. Dragons that are wise and just. Dragons that fly without wings. Amy runs to the attic. She remembers where she got the idea for her dragon. She pulls out something red and yellow, something with a big fat snout and golden horns. A dragon, gasped Sam and Willa. A dragon, agrees Amy. Amy's grandma puts on the costume's head, and Amy puts on the tail. So it's actually a costume she had. Together they dance down the attic steps and they roar through the house. Maybe you can bring it to school, says Sam. Can you see Grandma? She's got the head on top of her head, and Amy has the tail on top of her head, and the two of them are walking around pretending they're the dragon. I love the kitty down here at the bottom, dancing too. Please bring it to school, begs Willa. Says Amy. She thinks about the dragons in Miss Barry's book. She thinks about the dragons in Grandma's story. Bringing this dragon to class would be great, but there's something missing. Something to make the dragon Amy's. What could it be missing? I know it had a head. I know it had a tail. What is Amy going to do to make it her special dragon? After Sam and Willa go home, Amy begins to plan. She shows her sketches to her family. Will you help me? She asks. You think they're going to help? They're all smiling. They all look pretty excited too. They measure and cut out fabric and cut it into shapes. They carve a cardboard frame and fasten the cloth. Amy knots together 3 silk scarves, and then she adds some beads, and she adds some glitter, and a little more glitter, just because. Glitter is a lot of fun to use, isn't it? It's pretty messy, but it's fun. Ready? Asked Grandma. Amy takes a deep breath. Ready, she says. Amy comes to school with a big paper bag. The other children gather around. Is it your dragon? Asks Willa. Show us, cries Sam. Do you think they're going to recognize it? Amy puts on the dragon's head. She invites Willa and Sam beneath the dragon's tail. Together they dance through the classroom and roar between the desks. Everybody cheers. Miss Mary laughs so hard she can't even breathe. Look how long it is. And that was the original dragon there. But look, Amy put a lot of other things together to make it hers. I wonder why she did that. What do you think the reason might be? Amy's dragon is red and yellow. It has a big fat snout and golden horns. It has enormous green wings and a trail of 3 silk scarves and beads and glitter and lots of glitter. It works splendidly. It feels just right. She added a lot of fun things. There are the beads, the glitter, and the extra scarves so her friends can get underneath and parade with her too. It is exactly the dragon Amy wanted to make. And this is a dragon activity that you could do if you read this book and had it, or you could probably do it on your own at home. And it just says that you need some tracing paper or construction paper, some scissors, and just some things to decorate. Dragons are a big part of the Eastern culture. They have wonderful dragons in holidays, the Chinese New Year. And the Western dragons have dragons in their culture too, but they usually have 4 legs and 1 big leathery wings. And they're usually covered with scales. There are lots of stories about Western dragons to show how greedy these creatures were and how much they loved treasures. Their horns tended to be very sharp and pointy. Can you tell the difference between the Western dragons and the Eastern dragons? They tended to be a symbol of good luck and strength in many cultures. They usually have a long, skinny body with no wings, and its horns look like antlers, and its claws look like eagles. Its body is also covered in scales, and they come in many different colors and have a wide range of magical powers depending on the story. Oftentimes they're very intelligent. What kind of dragon would you make? Would you like the Eastern dragon with the long skinny body and the stag antlers and the eagle claws? Or would you want to make the Western dragon with the wings and the horns? Dragons are a lot of fun, and I am so glad that I was able to read this story to you about Amy Wu and the Patchwork Dragon. And remember, we talked about patchwork at the beginning? The patchwork were all the different scarves and beads and glitter that Amy added to her dragon. That was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed reading this story by Katie Young and illustrated by Charlene Chow. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time on Story Station. Bye-bye.